will share my screen as well. Okay, so I think we can go ahead and get started with check-ins, and maybe Ashley or others might join us and file in during check-in. So I would love to hear if you have alternative requests for the order of the agenda or any additional agenda items for us to discuss today, and then otherwise, how you're feeling and your intention for this call. So the agenda that we have currently is to discuss strategy around the upcoming Gitcoin grant, finally getting ahead of the game. It's on September 8th, talking about design assets and how we can use them, discussing onboarding resources, user testing, closing out the docs migration with the last couple of GitHub issues that are open, looking at Lauren's listed unlisted guide for Giveth.io resilience, and then reviewing analytics stuff and amplitude. So I can get us started with check-ins. I'm feeling admittedly a little tired today. I had food poisoning last night. Which is always fun. And I was like, oh my God, am I going into labor? But it was something weird that I ate, I guess. But I'm like getting caught up and it's all good. I made the agenda, so I don't have any additional agenda requests. And my intention, I feel like the top priority for me is Gitcoin and all the documentation stuff. So I will pass the mic to Mitch.
I'm feeling good. No distractions. Totally focused. I'm feeling great. I'll give it to Mia.
Great. Also feeling very focused, very present, and no additional things to add. And I'll send it to Ashley.
Hey there, good morning, guys. I'm feeling pretty good, slightly distracted just because I'm doing a lot of just random rabbit hole diving, but let me look at what's on the agenda. Yeah, the only thing I just wanted to look at some of those docs, and I think Mitch pretty much migrated most of them already, but that was the only thing I really wanted to add to the agenda. I guess. And then top priority is just continue to work on this contributors guide. And I'll pass it to Lauren.
Other thing. Hey, I'm feeling good. Just looking forward to getting through the agenda. I don't really have anything to add. I feel like feels like we're missing some things. Like we were talking before about, I don't know, closing it. Yeah, okay. Nah, never mind. If I think of it, I'll put it on the agenda. I'll pass it to Danny.
Good morning, dears. I'm feeling good. A little tired. Been burning a bunch of candles. Working to transition some of my responsibilities here on the ground so I can free up that space to be with you guys online more. But Wednesday is usually a pretty full day for me, so my morning's running behind and I'm slightly distracted. I'm using my phone rather than being in front of a computer this morning. The thing that I didn't hear mentioned on the agenda, their Discord's doing a big push right now, a promotional push, and they're looking for how to support DAOs more. And Ashley mentioned that we unlock a lot of analytics when we reach 500 members. So I'm thinking about quality, not quantity, of course, but how to bring in some good folks. into our Discord. And it seems like through the comms is the way to go. So there's some alignment between Discord marketing specifically to DAOs, and how we can be a part of that I think is worth looking at. Other than that, the agenda sounds great, and I'm here passing it to, I think everybody went, unless Griff's there with Lauren. Otherwise, back to you, Forrest. Okay. Oh yeah, the tech thing's happening right now too, huh?
Okay. Bueno. So I see also adding the mission statement and the terms and conditions. So let's see. Mission statement, terms and conditions update. Cool. So digging in, first up on the agenda, Gitcoin grants round 11. Looks like we've got a whopping 3 weeks to work on this. I don't even know what we're gonna do with all that time. We're used to finding out like the day before. So yeah, just an open discussion around how we might like to strategize. Is there any content that we want to create around this? Scheduling ahead of time, our messaging and our outreach, and then even like after, we can even talk about like, okay, once the round is completed, like, is there anything that we want to do outreaching to those folks who did donate? So yeah, I'm gonna open up the floor if anyone has any things that they would like to share around Gitcoin grants, maybe like what's worked the most in the past that maybe we want to reiterate, new ideas. I'll take notes.
Well, I think maybe we want to update like what we have written on the grants, and we normally sort of do it last minute, but maybe we could like have someone delegated to reviewing it, and like especially, I mean, maybe even updating. Oh no, the pictures are good. They're actually like the new designs. I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, I'm looking at the Giveth.io one right now, and it says V2 is our donor first, and now we're sort of like moving towards integrating the two dApps, and we're not really calling it V1, V2 anymore. So maybe we could include like links that are like links to the blog posts, like explaining trace, or I don't know. But I think if we could just like have somebody be responsible for updating these and putting the most recent information, that would be a good action item. Yeah,
I'd love to do that.
Oh, you'd love to do that. Oh, great, Mitch. You're a hero.
I'm also wondering, like, now that we're integrating the two applications, I'm wondering if it's more strategic as far as quadratic funding goes to only have one Giveth grant rather than the two separate grants. I don't know, like, algorithmically whether that would benefit or not.
The nice thing is that since I'm not listed on the Giveth Trace team, and like we can kind of divvy up our contributors that way, we're able to donate to the other ones. That's my only initial thought.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say when you offered to update. I think I'm on both of them, and I updated them last time, but it was very last minute, so it feels really good to split that up, get the current update information and get that in there. And it would be cool if we could do that at least a week to 2 weeks before the launch, because once we do the updates, we can send emails to everybody who donated and let them know that we've updated it and have cool things in store this next round to give a heads up on our active projects and get them into people's carts. And also, I'm happy to update the Galaxy list collection. My collection is pretty high up on the list and was getting a lot of hits, so I will update that as well.
Yeah, I guess I understand what you're saying, Mitch, about like contributors being able to donate to the other one But I'm curious, like, the more donations we get to one grant, the more matching funds and the quadratic funding, like, it gets more, the more donations that we have to one grant. So it seems strategic to just have one place where all people are donating, and then our number of donations would be higher on one grant.
I would agree with that if people were only donating to one or two things. But the fact is, if people donate to one, they're going to donate to the other because of the quadratic funding. And so far, the strategy of having multiple, I mean, not a ton, but the ones that we have has been working well for us. The longevity of the Giveth 2 one has a lot going for us, and I think we could maybe focus towards that being the main one in the future. But I wouldn't close down the Trace one. I think having the story of the two teams and then linking to how we are bridging them together and donating to each of them helps us do that. People donate to, they're not going to just pick one of them. They'll give to both of them. So far it's been working. We could reevaluate it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I guess strategically, like, just in our Twitter posts and stuff, we would more so point people towards the V2 one that way. Or maybe we can, strategize our messaging in a way that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, putting in the language around integrating them, and that in the future, Giveth will be all one, but really maybe not, because the Giveth Galaxy meme aspect is coming back strong as well because of our partnerships and the cool things, how we're really collaborative with like One Hive and Japnode and that kind of thing.
Just to clarify the issue, I'm just making it an issue now for what you're saying, Lauren. We're talking about the Giveth Trace and Giveth IO Panvala League.
Yeah, I already made an issue actually, Mitch, in the Giveth planning.
Oh, did you? Oh, sweet. Okay, awesome. Okay, all right. Sorry to interrupt.
I love that I can hear Giveth or Griff talking about the Give token on the other call.
Yeah. So I think also a next thing, I don't know if we're done talking about the blurbs, we've been pretty soft on memes lately. I wonder if it's maybe because the meme party time is like on a Sunday and people don't really roll in too much, but like it's always great when we have good memes for Gitcoin, and also it's great when we have like a bunch of memes in general, just so that we kind of like I think it like keeps us aligned on like what we're doing as Giveth and like kind of like what our memeable messages are, and that like helps for the Twitter and helps like keeps us like as a cohesive group. So I think we should create memes for Gitcoin, and I'd also like to propose potentially, if it seems logical to you guys, maybe we move the meme party time to a time that works better for people, or is it like, or if it was moved, would you guys still not come?
If it was moved, I would come, and I do agree that it's time to ramp up the meme stuff. And right now, mostly we just use the memes on Twitter and blog posts, but it would be good if we think about where we can expand meme use a little bit too. Like, we could be using them more in our Discord channels and cross-server communications, for example, right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I appreciate you bringing it up, Lauren. And I do think moving the time will have more participation. I think a lot of people are just wanting to take like Sunday. I know Mia is, I think like the day that she has off is Sundays. And I'm sorry, I meant to say Donna. And because of the Middle East team and like I'm working more with them now, I often find that I'm scheduling things in the morning slots, like either before or after community call or before or after comms calls. So that's why I haven't been able to join lately. Based on like when, let me just pull up the calendar. I wonder if there's like a better time that we might suggest. There seems to be like quite a few calls Monday morning. Thursday?
I was thinking Tuesday. I don't know what you guys' Tuesday morning looks like, but Tuesday or Thursday would be best for me personally.
Yes,
Maybe like Tuesdays at 9 after the Give bi-weekly call at 8.
No, Mitch and Griff and I wouldn't be able to go at that time. But maybe you could coordinate with Griff, because I think he's really good at memes and like really great to have in a meme party, but his schedule is also the craziest. So maybe, I don't know, Forrest, would you mind to coordinate with him and find a good time that's maybe a Thursday or a Tuesday that works for Griff?
Yeah.
I'd like to just put up maybe a doodle poll is the best way. Maybe there's people that aren't on this call that would like to join in the memery.
You can do a doodle
Memes
poll.
is for everybody.
Memes are for everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
I'd like to see if there's a way that we could like bring in new contributors or maybe non-contributors to make memes. Like people who just kind of lurk on our forum, like maybe be like, hey, we want your memes.
I think that's a great idea. Can we offer a bounty or some sort of
A meme
reward
bounty?
incentivization?
We could give them like Discord flair or something, I don't know.
Well, you know, with the TEC, they do like, join our channel, join our Discord, and we'll praise you, and praise turns into things. So it's like, I mean, we could praise them, and then they could, they generate praise or source code or whatever, and then could get like part
Should
of
they
their
get
pan
pan?
distribution, right? Like they could get pan if they get praised enough and they come to enough meme parties. But if we reschedule any time, I could also like share about it on Twitter and be like, join our meme party. We want you, our broader community.
Of course.
Yeah, part of me is like, I think of memes asynchronously. I love meme parties,
Yeah,
and I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah. I agree. You're a hero, Mitch. I like your asynchronous memes, but like not many people are memeing. Like you're memeing a little, and then the meme tail is pretty dead.
Yeah,
It's been dead for a
Yeah,
while.
no,
It's been
you're
dead
right.
for a while.
You're right.
So I think we need a consolidated effort, and normally like it's like just a time slot that reminds everyone that we want memes every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, bueno. So I'll check with Griff and get a doodle poll going.
Yay, thank you, Forrest. Okay, is there anything else you guys think we should do for Gitcoin? Like we can prepare memes and the blurbs, but do we want to do any specific outreach or like draft like an email that we blast out just before? Could be good.
Yeah,
Along
we could
with
make an email blast.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm just saying, along with changing the descriptions of the grants or updating the descriptions of the grants, it might be cool to put that new little video that Marco made.
That little 7-second one or whatever.
Yeah, the little animation. I don't know.
I think it's cute to display the design, but I don't think it has like a lot of content in it that we could maybe just like update the images to reflect the design. But I don't think it's a bad idea either.
Yeah.
Either way.
Are they, but they're not working on
Using that and then even just having it pause and have some text on it about the new developments coming soon, some sort of little teaser message that encourages people to get their projects listed on Giveth.io now for it to pay off later kind of thing. And I just realized I said get their projects listed, but I think we want to shift our messaging right now to encourage people to donate to the projects that are listed on Giveth.
I just noticed we have OX Cafo just joined the comms call. How are ya? Oh, we can't hear you. Alright, well, if you want to introduce yourself, feel free.
I wonder if there's something that we could put on the site itself that like talks about the Gitcoin grant round, like a little pop-up window maybe, or like a banner somewhere or something.
was working on the design for the banners a little while ago. I can check in with him to see like how. Well, yeah, it would also need somebody to dev it in, but maybe that's not too much work. I'll check in with Marco and see where we're at and try to own that and make it happen. I think that's a cool idea.
Okay.
On the banner designs, I've been
Making. Oh, sorry.
okay. Sorry, I've been into his brand assets, and I've been making a lot of stuff actually with the same tool that he uses, but I don't have the magician's touch at the same time.
Okay, so maybe Lauren can reach out to Marco and see what his bandwidth is and if that's something that he can support with. And if not, if he gives the green light, maybe Mitch can work on a banner and Marco can review it or something.
Yeah, I just take the stuff that he's already made, and if it needs to be stretched or adjusted, like I can do all that basic stuff.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Feels like we have some good to-dos for the Gitcoin grants round. Any other questions or ideas? Okay, cool. So then moving on to the assets review. When we were talking about the memes, I took some notes in here, but if there are other assets that we feel we need that are supportive to our communications messaging, or assets that anyone on the team is aware of that, for example, the design team has been creating, that we want to kind of talk about how we can best implement those, let's have a discussion around that. I'm aware of the 7-second Giveth.io video clip from design team. Let me just and it sounds like, yeah. How would we like to use that? I mean, I think it would be easy enough to share it on Twitter with some punchy copy. Maybe it can be like embedded, almost how we embed like memes and other content in some of our Medium articles.
Oh yeah, I already tweeted that video.
Craziest thing.
Cool. Is there any other content that we would really like to see created that would be helpful for use in social media, or like embedding in our articles, or other things that maybe we want to revitalize that have been created? Okay. Doesn't sound like it. Anything else that we want to talk about or share around design? Any team review on design?
I started, this is off topic, but I started maybe updating the front page of the Giveth docs because it wasn't really looking very good. So I'm almost done that, and I can share a couple screenshots today if you guys think it looks better.
Okay, is that, you mean like from a design, like tree structure standpoint, or?
No, like changing the images and the layout a little bit of the page. Anyway,
Awesome.
Just the front page there, not the actual structure or anything of it. Yeah.
That feels
But to make
design oriented. Maybe I'll stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Yeah, I can show you where I'm at. Sure. Let me just make sure I got the tab still open. Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, Mitch.
Yeah, it
But when
does
you go
look a lot
dark,
better.
it's really hard to see Giveth.
Yeah, she's right.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, I'm trying to work on that part there. It's it's not very easy.
We have a white version.
It's like a dark version. Yeah, I've got a white version, but it's like you have to go into the JavaScript and tell it which one to use depending on a certain setting, and it's not like clicking buttons. It's like I have to figure out how to code it in, but Matteo's been pretty helpful, so.
It looks so cool. Good job, Mitch.
Thanks. Yeah, the white version I think looks really nice, but just needs a little bit more tweaking. That's
it feels more like you're still inside Giveth instead of jumping out to some external tool, which is great. Thank you.
Yeah, like I took all the design assets that Marco's made and starting to use them quite a bit more.
Really cool. Looks great.
Thanks. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to show so far.
Amazing. I love having these 3 columns with like the different logos of our apps, and yeah, it's really clear.
Yeah, because before we just had like the screenshots, and screenshots they didn't do it justice, I think. So I think this is better.
Yeah. The future of giving, documented. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, once it's done, I'll post some screenshots and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Once it's done on my computer, obviously, before I upload it.
Just to be like, hey, Marco, am I violating things?
That's what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna post it to Marco and post it in here, and then, if it looks good, then we can upload it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You could also maybe check, well, Marco's the best one, but if he's really busy, you could check with Rodri, because he's gotten really familiar with the Giveth brand design has been working with Marco. So, I don't know, maybe he can get you quicker answers.
This is everything that was in our brand book. That's on our documentation anyway. So I feel like it's free game, but I'll check in with Marco.
Cool.
Anyway, I'll stop sharing screen, and we can keep moving, I guess.
Okay, bueno. Let me share mine again. Cool. I did some screen grabs while you were sharing, so they're in the notes too. Very cool, very cool. Anything else that we want to look at from a design standpoint? Lauren, do you have a desire for us to review any of the files together online for any feedback, or is everything kind of in the designer's court at the moment?
For the Give stuff, I haven't done anything else on it since the last time we checked in, but later this week I will. Later this week. Then I'll have something for you guys.
Cool. Sounds groovy. Okay, so our next agenda point is about onboarding resources. Mia has been collecting her questions and feedback as she's going through the onboarding process. And this was, I think, an agenda request from myself and Danny. Danny mentioned it would be a good process for us to integrate Mia's onboarding feedback into the docs, and then have, when the next time we have another new contributor, for them also to follow the trail and give their feedback as well. Mia, could you maybe drop a link in the agenda or in the comms channel, just so that it's more readily available, of your onboarding table of contents Google Doc? I'll put it in the notes.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to pull this up real quick. So you're outlining the chat, the work formed meeting format. Very
We're
cool.
still only seeing your Notion course.
What
Yeah, I guess I can just make a quick comment. Obviously, this is just kind of like how Danny made a comment about like she learns through writing, and I think the same for me, just to like organize my mind, and then realizing obviously a lot of this is you can find a lot of this in the documents. But yeah, I think that once Ashley has done her contributors guide, then her and I are going to be meeting up, and we can just go and compare again what is in the docs and what's kind of missing. And what I've tried to do is also specific processes of like signing up to different things and having to ask admins to like activate you or send you links or just so that it's understood like what happens on all the different platforms and how to get like how to join them.
This is super helpful to have all this information in one place. So it sounds like this is intended to be an internal document for other new folks joining the team that we can pass to them to support in their onboarding.
Well, I think that it would probably be best to just try and incorporate whatever you feel is needed into the docs, unless it's going to be more. Unless the docs is a very external kind of like representation and you want certain things just to be internal. But yeah, I would, between the contributors guide and the docs, I think the information should just be incorporated in there, my opinion.
Yeah, and I think like this would be a perfect document like to have in the Notion somewhere too, so that it's just like it has all the links, has all terminology. Like I think it's great. Because the docs is kind of like an outward facing kind of documentation platform, whereas our Notion is more so like our internal resources, and anybody coming on could follow these and like see all the different links, and it would link to the docs that it's relevant to. So I think we can definitely streamline them and integrate them together with the contributors guide and the current documentation.
Yeah, okay, great. Because my idea was just to try, not have lots of descriptions, but just literally like a very summarized version with links, and you can just go in. But then as a new person, just because it's so much information to kind of digest, if it's a little bit, my idea was that if it's a little bit shorter, it'll be easier. And yeah, I agree with you that Notion would work for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for creating this, Mia. And I guess we should talk about like what do we see as the next steps? Where would we want something like this to live in Notion? I'm assuming maybe under the community circle workspace, and just creating a new doc, either putting the link to this, or creating a new doc in Notion with all this information embedded. Yeah, what do you guys think? Where's the best place for this to live?
Yeah, I think the community circle section of Notion is a great place for it, and to have it actually be a Notion document is probably the best way to go, rather than linking to Giveth or to the Google Docs. And I think we were planning on meeting up at the end of this week, so probably like Friday. We hadn't really confirmed a time, but Mia's gonna come over and we're gonna like have a little hack session together.
Okay. And so when you're hacking, do you feel like part of that will be integrating the information into the relevant outward-facing docs that we have? Or are you guys mostly gonna focus on just continuing to contribute to this Google Doc for a while, and then when you feel like it's in a good place, then we will, shift gears to adding this info to our docs?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just for us to get on alignment between the contributors guide and this, and how they can work together, and we'll probably just pack within our Google Docs, and we won't put them live until like later once they're ready. Because I mean, even what's showing on the screen right now, like the working groups and internal structure, like that's still up for decision. So there's still some things that need clarification. And then just looking at like where maybe there are some gaps within the documentation now after what we have up, and see like, do we need to add any more to our documentation or in the docs or what? Seeing if we can find any gaps.
Yeah, I agree, exactly.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna switch back to sharing the Notion. Okay, cool. So I took some notes here. Sounds great. Anything else around onboarding resources? Okay. Okay, so our next point was a request from Miss Danny about user testing, soliciting beta users of Giveth.io and Trace to prepare for the Give launch by walking them through the Gardens docs. Danny, do you want to speak to this at all? And like what you see maybe as the steps for us to take here?
What you just said is foreign to me.
I think you posted
Walking
that in
users
the
through.
Discord comms channel. Let me see if it was someone else. You said, our comms documentation is the bridge from product to community. Planning for and doing some advanced user testing is on my mind. Soliciting beta users of IO and Trace to prepare for the Give launch. Walking through the Gardens doc.
Okay. So my feeling there, this kind of goes in with it dovetails onto what we were just talking about the onboarding guides and documentation. Identifying a group of users, it was my intention with that statement. So some of our regular folks who have some more time to contribute to walking through these docs besides us is what I was proposing here. So this is kind of like from onboarding and user support, getting some beta tests to actually do what we're producing right now and give feedback, kind of like what Mia is doing. I think it would be very helpful to create a group of our own users, to have them go through it together and discuss it, because then as new folks are coming in, we have the ability to decentralize support a little bit more and encourage users to support users. If we can get users to look at our docs and walk through it and give us feedback, now they're going smarter and questions for our users and kind of distribute the workload is the intention, but also to make sure that our processes and docs make sense to our users, not just us.
I mean, so for the garden, maybe it makes sense. You're talking about the garden, right?
Maybe it makes
Well, so I just spent, yeah, sort of. I mean, yes to garden, and also definitely like the pieces that we're letting them. I know I've been going through them right now, understanding how they work, provide my feedback. But I know I would like to have.
Is Danny cutting out for you guys?
Yeah, she cut out.
Yeah, I'm not hearing
I
her.
didn't hear what you were saying, really, Danny. Well, I heard you cut out at DAppNode. You know, that we don't really actually have to do any more testing for DAppNode because their liquidity mining program is already live. So, like, it's like live and already done. So, it kind of like with that part is just we need to do the designs for ours, and then like for the garden, it's being tested by like a number of different groups in like the galaxy. Like, there's like a TC one, there's like an Agave one, there's a Giveth one, and and we have a lot of people like on our team doing it. I think that if we were to like create documentation for how to test the gardens, it might be like more time being put into that rather than like we could have just done the testing and been done with it, you know?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now better, Lauren? Because I want to kind of stop you because I wasn't talking about testing the applications. I was about speaking specifically of the documentation. So as I read the DAppNode, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. As I read the documentation that OneHive has put together, that DAppNode has put together, that Agave has put together, it's open source, and there's a ton of that documentation that I'm assuming we'll be able to leverage for Giveth, right?
Yes.
Like for the garden, we maybe don't even need to duplicate it because it's like the OneHive garden, you know? We just can kind of have links from our documentation to theirs.
Yeah. So really that's what I'm speaking about here, or what I was referring to, because communications who's got great documentation that explains what we want our users to know as.
Fun fact related, I'm going to be working with Sasha to rewrite some of that gardens documentation. So maybe if there's little things we want to sneak in there, then we can do that.
Oh, I'm really happy to hear that, Mitch. It's so good already. Like, I read it and I get excited because who wrote it speak my language. And you have an excellent contributor.
Yeah. That's good context, though, because then if we can look at it from example, like a Giveth user walking into gardens, like what kind of information do we want to convey to them?
Exactly. Thank you.
Awesome. And where do we feel is like the best place as people are testing the open source documentation to, do we just want to make those GitHub issues on the planning board if they see updates that they would like to make, or should we copy and paste some of this documentation into like individual Google Docs and then make edits as suggestions in the Google Doc? Like, how do we want, what would be the process? HackMD.
You're talking about writing which documentation, the garden stuff?
Yeah, Danny mentioned that there's like several different open source documentation from like OneHive, DAppNode, Agave. So if we're like looking to that stuff.
If you want to do it on the application itself, I guess it really depends on their process. Some people, they want you to write it on the forum. Some people, they want it in their Discord, and some of them do use GitHub issues. So it'll really depend on how that organization organizes their feedback.
Yeah.
I think if I understood your question.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what Danny is suggesting is to do it that way, or are you suggesting to go ahead and start with the forking process, and so just copying the documentation that's already been created and then making like direct edits for Giveth?
Yes, and I mean, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but I am thinking as I read these documents, which I've just a lot of time on, I had to go into OneHive for find their GitHub, through their GitHub issues, and Lauren and Gabby already have in the board to see if any feedback I have is specific to OneHive, which some of it is, so I put it in their GitHub. Others, better just to go chat in the board channel, definitely. I think surfacing, perhaps creating a place where you can paste, capture some docs that we want, that as I read it, I should somewhere that, hey, these guys have a great that's relevant for us in our docs. If you guys want that in GitHub, in our GitHub, like comms or planning or whatever, I can do that. I guess the question is, as I go through, where would you like me to convey what I find that I think is useful for Giveth?
Yeah, it seems like it would be great to create maybe like one GitHub issue that we can track and like dump links in there as comments or something as we're finding like relevant, helpful documents for us to fork. And then later, once we've decided like what have we narrowed it down to, and then we can create it in like HackMD and make the edits for Giveth directly there. How does that feel for you guys? Okay, I'm not hearing any objections. All right. Anything else around testing and documentation review before we move on to the docs migration GitHub issues? Bueno. So, docs migration issue review, these are just actually posting 4 different GIFs. I delete this and the core guide. So the 2 stragglers, it looks like, are the covenant and the history. I believe Ashley and I, like Lauren, just finished, kind of put the covenant to done, made some updates, and Ashley and I so far have QA'd it. So like maybe if one more person wants to review the covenant. And then this history, I guess, I haven't taken a look at this yet, but I think that must be the one from Kai.
Yeah, it was from
So
Kai.
is the covenant on like a forum post or something?
The
Because it
covenant is
should
in
go
the
out to the
HackMD.
community.
I
Yeah,
don't,
and if we need, go ahead.
I don't think it needs to go into a forum post to be debated. It's honestly like mostly like a fork from like what OneHive has, and like multiple different DAOs have used like basically word for word exactly the same thing. It's like don't sexually harass people and don't put their private information publicly, and just like it's pretty simple. And I just added a little bit of like the Giveth mission and vision, and yeah. I mean, I think to not extend the process too much is better because it's not too complicated.
Yeah, and this is going to be used for our gardens, or this should be on the documentation, or both.
Right?
I think both.
Okay.
I think
Parameters working group work trying to
yeah, I think both, because like also in the covenant, like that OneHive has in others, it says like this covenant should be applied as well into like Discord and forum communities, like for like proper conduct within the community.
Voting isn't on the table. We don't have it.
Okay, cool. I get it.
Awesome. And I tend to agree with Lauren, but are there any objections to what she said and not putting it as a forum post? Okay, cool.
What's going to
yeah.
be... Oh, no. I'll talk about it later. Sorry, I don't want to... Governance call. We can move on, Forrest.
Okay. So then this other GitHub issue, wiki migration history, this is one that I worked on There was some QA around it at the end of June. Some edits were created. I don't believe that the edits and comments have been incorporated. Obviously, Kai is on paternity leave, so my suggestion is maybe one of us takes this one since it's already been written and there's really just the edits and the comments to incorporate. We can maybe bring this one home. What do you guys think?
When I looked at it, I didn't see any comments or edits that hadn't been incorporated. But maybe I'm missing something.
I don't think they've been incorporated. I think that's the next step.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been incorporated. There's like a lot of edits in it. There's like a lot of things crossed out. Plus, he ended it at December of 2020, and a lot of things have happened since then. So those sections from December 2020, like all of 2021 so far, needs to be added.
That is big. Let's see. Need to add sections.
If nobody else wants to take a stab at it, I can try and finish it. I'll move it into probably a Google Doc, so it can be edited more collaboratively.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe if, I don't know, I would be happy to also go in and like be like, I remember this happened in January or whatever, and just like throw a few ideas in to create like a rough timeline that you can put together.
That's why I think we should use a better editing tool.
Okay.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that one person's going to miss.
Okay, I'll find the issue, I'll move into the Google Doc, I'll assign you, and then I'll like tag some of us in it. So like Danny probably has some good ideas too for like history things, and like Ashley too, and Forrest, because you guys have been around.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But I can own it and just drive it home, but then it'll be collaborative.
Yeah. I'm super happy to review and edit after there's something to review and edit.
Yeah, I'm also happy to look at it just from a fresh perspective.
I mean, I hope you read the whole thing, Mia. Get up to speed.
Oh my word. Sorry.
Oh, she left.
Okay, bueno. And are there any other final pieces in this big old docs migration, or are these the last two?
Seems like those are the last two. We also have our conflict resolution one, but until we have a protocol for conflict resolution, it doesn't seem like the time to put that in.
And the mission statement is missing from what is Giveth.
When we have a new mission statement, we'll put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. No. So then moving on, Giveth.io resilience. Lauren created this HackMD document outlining how do I explain? Yeah, like what you would see for a listed project or an unlisted project, and some examples of why certain projects would be considered listed or unlisted based on like vague descriptions and things like that. I did QA on this. Is this still like up for debate as to whether we're doing the listed unlisted thing, or is that for sure going on, and then this would just be a doc on the documentation for reference?
Well, Mateo right now is working on developing it. So I think we are going ahead with it. We didn't have any we didn't have like a formal vote around it, but also like no strong disagreements, especially since like unlisted projects will still be able to be found on Giveth, like through their link, and you can still donate to them. It's just that they don't show up like in like the big pot of things until they're approved by an admin. So Mateo and Carlos are working on making an admin dashboard. But anyway, like with this document that I made, this listed unlisted thing, I mean, I was looking through projects on Giveth, and the ones that I was like, this should be unlisted, like it was all like very, very obvious. You know, it was like, this one is just a title and has absolutely no description. This one says like, give me money, and that's like no description. But like, I think that, I don't know, I would love for you guys to like just give some feedback about what you think should be listed or unlisted, so we can just like kind of come to an agreement on like what we're using as like guidance so that we're all aligned. But fundamentally, I think that we should only like, we should cancel or remove projects if they're like violating the covenant and, you know, like exhibiting like offensive, violent, illegal behavior. And then otherwise they should be unlisted unless they like have a clear description and like a reasonable title and a photo or something like this. But this is just the kind of part that I would love feedback on.
Yeah.
Really,
Laura?
the correct. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I want to go through, I just saw it go up, and what I'd really like to do is actually choose some real Giveth projects and do some screenshots and say, good project, why? This project will be unlisted, why?
Well, that's
like
what I
actually
did. I didn't put screenshots, but I put links to projects. I put like 10 ones that should be unlisted and like 3 examples of ones that are good.
Yeah, so just like do this, don't do that, don't do that. I haven't been able to look at it yet, but I would like to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you can go in and like, I mean, feel free to like edit, revise, and improve upon that document. That would be great. I'd love more feedback and help.
Yep, and then the entire
concept is that
The
like,
contributors guide isn't necessarily the place for it. I think we have a place in the document right now that talks about like quality score and stuff, and so maybe that's a good place for it.
yeah, it's basically going to be for internal use. So like,
You're
the
cutting
people
up
that
quite
are,
a bit your audio, Lauren.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, the main thing is when somebody creates a project, there should be a link to that information, like prominently. Like before you create a project, did you read this?
Maybe where the link right now is where we have to the blog post about how to create a high quality project during the project flow might be a good place for that document instead.
So just a question from my side. I mean, this also flows into verified and unverified. And I'd made a comment on the forums suggesting also that listed and unlisted works as a from like an owner's point of view, but also just for users when they come onto the website, like a listed could also be unverified or verified, and that makes a bit more sense to a user, and then has a call to action to the owner to actually go and get their project verified. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Our project verification flow right now is a little more like rigorous and requires projects to fill out additional information about their project to become verified, and it ties into like the Give economy and the Give Backs program. So I think this way it's just more internal dialogue about like what projects will show up in the homepage versus which ones you'd have to directly navigate to via URL. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah.
Feedback, but yeah, maybe on this document, just like clarifying the differences between verified and unverified projects with a link to like, project verification documentation, and then listed and unlisted projects and canceled projects. But otherwise, this document to me seemed really clear. Any other comments?
So the thing that just occurred to me is having a table with all of the different statuses that, for example, you can sort on in Giveth.io. So if we have a table and it says if my project is listed, then listed and verified, listed, verified, and traceable. Like we have all of these different multiple layers of badges that a project can earn. So like a chart that indicates how to reach maximum visibility to donors for your project, for example, from unlisted all the way through to fully listed, verified, traceable, and X number of hearts, and whatever it is.
I love that. I mean, plenty of people are more visual than they are contextual, so having like a nice graphic, and then also like explaining it a bit underneath would be really nice. Awesome. Well, we are 2 minutes past the hour. Today, we did not get to talk about the mission statement, analytics review, the Discord promotional push, or the terms and conditions update. I'm curious if any of these items feel really urgent that we want to share, and if anyone has a few more minutes to stay on, or if we would like to honor the time and drop.
The only thing I wanted to say about analytics is just to look at them, and you can send me a message or leave something in communications if there's anything else you want to see on it. But I dropped the link in there, so just take a look if you have access.
I feel like that would be worth having the hack time on Friday to look at it between now and then and take a look at it, if that makes sense. Those sound like things that are worth spending more time on this week, what with the lead up that we've identified for Gitcoin.
Yeah, but just look at them first, and if you think it's missing a lot of work, then we can spend some time on it.
Yeah, I don't want to keep anybody too much longer either, but as far as the mission statement goes, just talking about that, I was curious, Forrest, on have we scheduled something, or have you talked with Marco or Willie about getting some workshops scheduled so that we can start to form this mission statement?
Yes, Willie is totally down to facilitate the workshop. He thinks it's probably just going to take one call to do like the overarching Giveth mission. And then we were just kind of discussing like different options of how we wanted to handle the circle missions. Like, should we have like a follow-up call where there's like a breakout or something and the circles are doing their like circle mission statements, or if that's just something that the circles will handle on their own. But yeah, Willie is down, and so I think a doodle poll is going to be going out probably today or tomorrow to get that on the calendar.
Okay, cool.
Doodle poll coming. Awesome. And did the Discord stuff or the terms and conditions feel urgent, or shall we push that discussion for Friday? Cool. Okay. Awesome. Sounds great. Well, thanks so much for staying on a little bit late. I will share the meeting notes link in the meeting notes channel. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a really fantastic Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.